Welcome everyone to a very unique game of chess here. We have Ruslan Ponomariov entering in. Now, Ruslan is a world-class grandmaster, but in 2002 he became the FIDE World Champion at the age of 18 years and 3 months only. So he is one of the youngest, in fact the youngest world champions. But it was not in a match, it was in a knockout tournament. And his opponent is Gukesh, who's become the youngest world champion at the age of 18 years and 6 months and a few days. He did that in a match which now FIDE recognizes as the 18th world champion. So in a way, it's a battle between two people who become the youngest world champions in the history of chess. And a handshake, they're playing at the Menorca Masters in Spain. Pawn to c4 by Ruslan. It's 30 minutes plus 10 seconds increment. Now, getting to this game, Gukesh scored a wonderful win against Lenier Dominguez in the previous game, which means that he is on a high. He's on +1 right now, and he would definitely want to beat Ponomariov. He had just solved all his pieces. It takes a good 20-25 seconds. Calms himself down. If he manages to win here, he'll join the leader of the tournament, Nihal. And Gukesh goes pawn to e6. Ruslan now brings his knight out to f3. We have pawn to d5. g3 played. And Gukesh goes for the aggressive pawn push in the center, d4. Ponomariov pushes his pawn to d3 and Gukesh gives a check. Of course, Gukesh is very well prepared with all the nuances in the opening. Bishop d2 and pawn to a5. We have bishop coming out to g2. The knight goes to e7, not to f6. It's very interesting development. Knight to a3 played by Ruslan. Black castles here. And now knight to b5. Interesting move. If you play a move like c6, then the d4 pawn is hanging. So bishop comes back to c5, defending that pawn and maybe planning to kick the knight away. Castles, and he does play pawn to c6. Gukesh has 26 minutes, Ruslan has 25 minutes. Knight a3, and now bishop comes back to d6. Interesting move, because if you take here, you simply lose a piece. Bishop a3 and queen d4. So e3 played, Gukesh takes, bishop takes. And now knight f5. This is exactly why the knight stood on e7. Can jump to f5, attack the bishop. Pawn comes up to d4, and I think Gukesh already has a very pleasant position. He plays e5. Fantastic chess here by Gukesh, because if takes, he wants to take on e3, fe3 and bishop c5. Brilliant. Ponomariov goes c5. Also a nice move. And now logically you go back, bishop c7, and also take on d4. You can take on e3, takes on d4, and bishop g5. But now Gukesh can simply drop back his bishop to e7 and trade. Queen takes e7, and now you can't play knight d4 because you simply lose the pawn on c5. You will be a pawn down. So rook c1 first defends the pawn, but Gukesh is a pawn up now. Clearly, rook d8. He goes knight to a6. He's not worried about knight takes d4 because he sees knight b4 is a nice move. Rook e1 attacks the queen, and the bishop comes out to e6. The game is heating up. Bishop h3 played. Wow, attacking here. This is pinned. So queen comes up to f6. Now takes, giving up a very important bishop there. If you take with the queen, I have knight d4. So he takes with the bishop. If knight takes d4, he takes with the queen. By the way, if knight takes, it was a blunder. Rook a d8 and you are in trouble. So queen takes. And now you can trade the queens, but he goes rook d8, accepting doubled pawns. It's very interesting play by Gukesh. gf. And Gukesh essentially is saying to Ruslan that your pawns are weak. Now taking here is a mistake because knight e3 attacks the bishop as well as the knight. It's possible still, but knight b4. He's threatening a fork. What a game this is by both these players. Fighting, absolutely fighting. Rook e7, attacking the pawn on b7, also getting out of the fork on d3. And now maybe bishop e6 makes a lot of sense. Bishop e6, if you take on b7, I have knight a2. Gukesh goes knight d3. He attacks Ruslan's rook on c1. I think Ponomariov has the only move to keep the game going here. Rook c3. He finds it. Rook to c3. Now Gukesh goes bishop h3. He is very tricky. Some back rank mates are in the air. He comes back knight e3. And now rook a b8 defending. It's a bit passive, but maybe it's not bad. And Gukesh finds that even. Excellent chess by the world champion. Pawn to b3. And now maybe bishop e6 to trap the rook and then king f8. Maybe the rook could get trapped behind enemy lines. And he finds that as well. Bishop e6. Brilliant. Ponomariov goes a3. He wants to play b4 maybe. Or just takes away the b4 square. King f8. Rook c7. And now where's the next move coming from? Gukesh very low on time. He finds the best move. Knight b2. He has just 33 seconds while Ponomariov has 9 minutes 30 seconds. Rook c2. Now knight d1. Trade it. Comes back. Maybe they repeat. Bishop b3 is hanging. He goes rook c3 to gain some time on the clock. And Gukesh goes bishop h3. He does not play knight b2, knight d1 idea. And now Ponomariov has a huge time lead. That's the problem. Gukesh has a great position, but not enough time. Rook comes up to c4. And now bishop e6 again. He goes back. And maybe rook c3, already a draw can be claimed because maybe it's third time that they are repeating. Rook c3. But knowing Gukesh, the fighter that he is, he's not going to agree to a draw. He goes knight e5. He offers a trade. I guess you take it. Knight takes e5. The position is no longer better for Gukesh. But he goes king g2 and makes a mistake because bishop h3 check, king h3, knight f3, and this knight is beautiful here. Will Gukesh find it? He doesn't have enough time to assess everything. But he goes knight g6. He misses this bishop h3, knight f3, knight g5, knight e6 idea. But okay, b4 played. AB, AB. And now knight e7. Yes, he's going to d5. If takes, he wants to take with the bishop pinning. Rook a3 coming in. Knight takes knight. And now bishop takes. Makes sense. Just creating this pin g4 so that the king can come up to g3. Rook a8 played. He comes rook e3. Ponomariov playing super quick here. Rook e8 offering a trade, king g3. He's not even thinking. Rook takes rook. Pawn takes, and now careful here. Rook b8, defend the pawn. Or maybe rook e8, go back. But he goes rook a3, a big mistake. I mean, if rook b7, there's rook e3 winning. But the point is, after king f4, I defend this. And then b7 is hanging. And Gukesh had only 3 seconds to make that move. So now Ponomariov is winning. All of a sudden, things have turned around totally here. King f4, brilliant chess. Ponomariov finding the move. Now rook goes back to a8, but this is already over. e4 pushes the pawn, bishop c4. He can snatch a very important pawn. Ruslan playing confidently now. Rook d8, stopping knight d4 plans. But he goes from the other way. He's going knight f5 here. And Gukesh comes back. Bishop e6. The knight jumps into f5. Bishop takes f5. But this rook endgame is utterly lost here. He plays g takes f5. And look at the clock. Gukesh has 22 seconds. He thinks he's down to 4, 3, 2. And plays with 1 second. Rook d2. Attacking the h2 pawn. Ponomariov goes rook c7, attacks c6. Now if rook b2, I take on c6, you take on b4, I take on f6. I'll be 2 pawns up. So he takes on h2, but now gives 2 connected passers, and that's not going to be easy to hold. This is just losing now. And you can see Gukesh many times when he just turns his head, just kind of scratches his head, you know he's losing. The h pawn is a passer, but it's too slow. The c pawn is super quick. Rook c2, b5 played. And now rook c3, cutting the king off, maybe threatening h4, h3. Let's see what Ponomariov does here. He goes rook b7. He knows the race is winning for him. c7 with the threat of check and make a queen. King g7. b6 with rook b8 coming. h3. He goes rook a7 to just stop the pawn rook a1, and then these 2 pawns will win. It's game over here. Ponomariov has beaten Gukesh here. Gukesh leans back in his chair, offers his hand in resignation, and you can see Ruslan is pleased with this victory for Gukesh. Well, he's back to 50% score. He played well here, but the lack of time made him not be able to find those key moves, while Ponomariov was very, very resourceful and managed to find some great tricks to outwit the world champion. We leave you with some final moments where Ponomariov is met with fans outside the playing hall, and you can enjoy that. As of now, this is the entire setup of the Menorca tournament. There's a Masters going on. They have an open section A, open section B. A beautiful tournament that's happening in Spain.
It's not today. Jak to by zовут? Ruslan. Ravindra. Кому до чого? Володимир Великий теж?
Так. Я прям сама вспотіла, наче сама грала за вас. Я вас вітаю, що ви сьогодні виходите.
Насамперед, проти дуже